Welcome to Super Showdowns, the ultimate destination for epic battles and legendary showdowns. Join us as we put iconic superheroes, villains, and mythological figures against each other in thrilling matches of strength, strategy, and skill. The cosmos trembled as two of the most powerful beings in existence stood face to face on the barren surface of a forgotten world. A ruined celestial temple loomed behind them. Its crumbling remains a testament to a bygone civilization wiped from the annals of history. The sky above twisted with violent storms of purple and black, swirling as if the universe itself sensed the chaos that was about to unfold. Thanos, the mad titan, stood unmoving, his towering figure casting a long shadow across the cracked obsidian ground. His armor gleamed under the faint, dying light of a distant sun. His cold, calculating eyes locked onto his opponent. He had faced gods, cosmic entities, and forces beyond comprehension. But today, he was facing something even more unpredictable. Opposite him, Robert Reynolds, known to the world as the Sentry, hovered above the ground, golden energy radiating from his body like a miniature sun. His piercing blue eyes glowed with raw power, his long blonde hair flowing wildly as the sheer force of his energy distorted the air around him. To many, he was the ultimate hero, an invincible protector with strength beyond measure. But to those who truly understood him, he was a walking apocalypse, a man barely containing the darkness within him. Thanos smirked. "You've come a long way, little son. Do you think you are my executioner?" His voice was deep and commanding, filled with the arrogance of one who had conquered gods. Sentry narrowed his eyes. "I don't think. I know." His voice was layered with something unsettling, an echo that hinted at a presence far more terrifying than the man speaking. Thanos clasped his hands behind his back, unbothered. "I've broken the spirit of cosmic gods, shattered empires, and rewritten the fate of reality. What makes you think you are different?" Sentry didn't answer with words. He moved. Before Thanos could blink, Sentry was gone, a golden streak of light bursting through the sky at speeds beyond comprehension. Then, a thunderous impact. The very fabric of space rippled as Sentry's fist collided with Thanos' jaw, sending the mad titan hurtling through the temple ruins like a meteor. The ground split open, molten energy spilling from the depths of the planet as the force of the impact nearly tore the world apart. A normal being would have been annihilated, but Thanos was no normal being. The rubble exploded outward as Thanos rose to his feet, his lip cracked, but his expression unfazed. He flexed his fingers, rolling his neck with a crack. Impressive, his grin widened, but not nearly enough. Sentry was already there. A second strike. A golden fist drove into Thanos' chest with a shockwave that obliterated the remaining ruins and sent mountains collapsing in the distance. The planet itself groaned under the force of their clash. The mad titan was forced back again, skidding across the broken ground before planting his feet. Then he struck back. Thanos' fist surged with dark cosmic energy as he lunged forward, driving it directly into Sentry's abdomen. The impact cracked the very air, distorting reality itself. Sentry's golden glow flickered as he was sent flying backward, smashing through jagged rock formations before coming to a stop in midair. For a moment, both
Don't just watch. Subscribe, please.
warriors hovered, staring each other down. The first true test had begun. Sentry wiped the corner of his mouth, golden energy crackling around his fingertips. Thanos took a step forward, rolling his shoulders. Then, in the blink of an eye, the battle exploded. The two titans collided in the sky, throwing punches that shattered reality itself. Every strike was a cosmic detonation, every movement a blur beyond mortal comprehension. Planets trembled in the wake of their battle. The sheer kinetic force of their strikes sent shockwaves rippling through space, knocking asteroids off course and snuffing out stars in distant systems. Sentry moved faster, his form flickering across the battlefield as he rained down an onslaught of golden energy upon Thanos. Each hit was like a dying sun exploding, but Thanos endured endured every single one. His experience in battle, his unbreakable will, and his tactical mind kept him standing where lesser beings would have perished. Then Thanos countered. A dark energy pulse erupted from his body, sending Sentry crashing into the ground. The impact was so severe that an entire continent was erased from the planet. Before Sentry could rise, Thanos was upon him, driving a knee into his spine, then hammering his fist down like a god of war. Blow after blow, the battlefield cracked, molten rivers bursting forth as the planet itself began to break apart. Sentry roared in defiance, his golden energy intensifying. Then, he did something Thanos did not expect. He stopped holding back. A low, guttural whisper echoed across the battlefield. It was ancient, dark, and terrifyingly familiar. Thanos' eyes narrowed. He recognized that sound. He had heard it before, across the fabric of time, in the whispers of the universe's darkest corners. "No," Thanos muttered. "Not you." Sentry lifted his head, and in that moment, Thanos saw it. The glow in his eyes had changed. The golden radiance was still there, but behind it, something else stirred, a black abyss, endless and consuming. The void was awakening. Sentry's lips twisted into something that was not quite a smile. "Now, Mad Titan, let's see how unbreakable you really are." The sky turned black. The stars vanished. And Thanos, for the first time in centuries, felt the chill of true dread. The cosmos shuddered as the battlefield turned into a void of absolute darkness. The sky was no longer a sky. It was nothingness. The stars had been swallowed whole, their light devoured by the abyss that now bled from Sentry's body. The void had awoken. Thanos stood firm as the golden radiance around Sentry flickered, now tainted by swirling tendrils of living darkness. His once pure form twisted in the air, his golden eyes now glowing with an eerie obsidian hue. He was no longer just Robert Reynolds. He was something far worse. The void spoke, but its voice was not Sentry's. It was ancient primordial, filled with a hunger that had no end. "You were a fool to stand against me, Titan. You are but dust before the storm." Thanos exhaled slowly, unfazed. "I've shattered cosmic gods, torn reality apart with my bare hands, and stood unbroken before eternity itself." He clenched his fists, dark energy crackling around him. You're just another monster that needs to be put down." The void laughed, and then it struck. Sentry vanished. No, not vanished. He moved so fast that time itself struggled to comprehend it. In an instant, a black-streaked golden blur crashed into Thanos with the force of a collapsing nebula. A shockwave unlike any before it erupted, its force ripping across space and time. Planets were shattered in distant systems. The very fabric of reality warped as the void unleashed its fury upon Thanos. Thanos flew backward.
Hey you, don't just watch. Subscribe please.
His body skidding through the ruined terrain as entire mountain ranges crumbled beneath him. But he didn't stay down. He never stayed down. He roared and charged forward, swinging his fist with titanic strength. His punch met Sentry's chest, and the air itself screamed as the golden entity was hurled across the landscape, tumbling through space itself. But the void did not relent. Tendrils of darkness erupted from Sentry's body, warping into jagged spears that lunged toward Thanos from every direction. Each was sharp enough to pierce celestial armor, yet Thanos dodged, weaving through them with inhuman precision. Those that reached and met his fists shattered with sheer force. Then Sentry was upon him again, his face no longer human, but a twisted, monstrous shadow of what he once was. His fists rained down in a blinding flurry, each strike capable of splitting a planet in half. Thanos took the beating. He absorbed it. The void loomed over Thanos, golden light, now fully drowned in riding shadows. "You are finished, Titan. Yield to the inevitable." For a moment, the battlefield stood still, and then Thanos smiled. "Inevitable?" His voice dripped with mockery. "I am inevitable," with a sudden, brutal precision. Thanos gripped Sentry's throat, his fingers locking around the darkness itself. A surge of raw cosmic energy burst from Thanos' body, his muscles flexing as he began to crush the void within his grasp. Sentry screamed, but it was not a human scream. It was something eldritch, otherworldly, a sound that no being should ever hear. Thanos did not stop. He drove his knee into Sentry's abdomen, a strike that sent shockwaves across the dying planet. He followed up with a colossal uppercut, sending the corrupted hero spiraling into the sky. The void lashed out, spewing tendrils of darkness and desperation. But Thanos caught them all, ripped them apart, and tore through the abyss itself. You are not a god. You are not eternal. You are just a man. A broken man playing with power he cannot control. Thanos' fist ignited with cosmic force, the full power of the Mad Titan, channeled into one final strike. And then he delivered it. A punch so devastating that reality itself cracked like glass. A punch that sent Sentry hurtling into the core of the planet, breaking through oceans of magma, layers of stone, and finally, the very heart of the world. The planet could not withstand it. The impact was cataclysmic. The void screamed as the force of Thanos might tore it from Sentry's body, ripping it apart like smoke in the wind. The darkness receded, leaving only Robert Reynolds, broken, defeated, and barely clinging to life. The planet began to collapse, but Thanos stood unharmed, watching as molten flames erupted around him. He had faced the unrelenting storm, and he had conquered it. Robert Reynolds, the Sentry, the so-called god of a million suns, lay at his feet, unmoving. Thanos exhaled, flexing his fists. I told you. He turned his back, walking away as the world burned behind him. No more words needed to be spoken. The Mad Titan had won. The end.